Hi everyone, it's Celeste and welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about cosplay! I teach you tutorials on how to make the outfit, how to do the makeup, so you can become the character of your dreams. Today, I'm going back to a few videos ago about my Vanellope cosplay. I said I would teach you how to make a pleated skirt. I wanted to have it in a separate video so you can reference this anytime when you're making anytime you need to make a skirt. This is a very easy tutorial and I hope it's easy to follow along with. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. Well, I mean, that's about it. It's as straightforward as possible. I mean, it's a pleated skirt. Obviously, in this tutorial, I'm showing you how to make a single pleated skirt and a double pleated skirt. So it's very versatile. I also don't go into detail about how to sew in a zipper because if you already know how to sew a zipper in, you do. If not, well, just tell me that you would like a smaller video on me showcasing how to sew a zipper into garments. Anyways, let's go ahead and start the tutorial. This is very quick and easy and I hope you enjoy it. For this project, you want to measure out how long you want your skirt to be. My current fabric of choice is this brown stretch taffeta. I used it for my Vanellope cosplay. Use that same measurement and cut out 2 large strips of fabric. If my edge is not straight, I like to cut it into a straight line first and then start marking. I make multiple marking points, then draw a line, and then I cut it out. So first I'm going to be sewing a straight line against the cut. Then I'm going to fold over the fabric once, and then I'm going to fold it again. So I'm doing a fold over hem, and the straight line that we've just sewn is actually going to be my guide, so that way I don't have a wonky hem and everything is even. Just a quick helpful sewing tip. Make sure everything is nicely pressed down, and then begin sewing. So now here comes the hard part, the actual pleating. Pleating is like a form of folding itself over and over, but not exactly on top of each other. So you want to leave some space before you fold on top. I'm doing about 3-inch pleats. So what I'm going to do is make a fold and put it on top of itself. So you should be using about 6 inches for the overall pleat. Then you go on to the next one, measure out 3 inches from the last beginning fold, then create another 3-inch pleat and pleat on top of it. So when you actually start pleating, you're going to have a pleat on the inside and on the outside. You want to pin down both of these, that way none of your pleats become crooked. That's why you can see me pinning the top and the bottom. This is probably going to be the most tedious project you will ever have. You can use sewing clips, but the next step is actually going to be requiring you to iron, and I don't think that clips are going to be useful in this aspect. And so keep folding and fixing if you need to, and have the right size and length for your pleat until you are done. Make sure you finish out the entirety of your fabric. When you are finished, it should look like this. This is both pieces completely pinned and finished. And now you can see that I actually went and put a middle pin in between the pleats so that it lies flat. I can't stress this enough, but you need to iron your pleats before sewing anything else. Ironing them is going to help them maintain their shape after you're done and taking out your pins. Also, it's really important to keep the fold in the pleat because you want it to stick. Now do be careful when you're actually ironing this. Depending on what fabric you're using, watch the temperature of your iron and keep going along the sides and pressing down those pleats. And I mean literally. I'm pressing down and I'm steaming it as hot as possible so that the fabric itself gets really wet and it starts to conform to the actual new fold. That way it does not revert back to a straight piece of fabric. Once the fabric has cooled down a little bit and it's not painful to touch, if you have pins that got hot, go ahead and bring it to the sewing machine with the pins still intact and only sew the top part. Do not sew the bottom part where the hem is. After every few stitches, I actually just took out the sewing pins. This way it didn't break my sewing needle, and I don't want any breaks on my sewing needles. That's not good. Next, I cut out a strip of fabric for my waistline. This is going to be the waistband, and it's 4 inches wide. You'll notice that my waistband is actually smaller than the full-on pleated fabric, and that's because I wanted to over-pleat versus under-pleat. If you have less pleats, then you're gonna have to cut more fabric and it's not fun. So go ahead and begin pinning your pleated fabric to your waistband. Now, since this is from my Vanellope video, I want to show you the double layering process. That's why we had 2 cut out, and of course, I cut it multiple times. So one of the fabrics is actually a little bit smaller than the other, and this is what it looks like with the first layer already pinned to the waistband. And now we're just going to go ahead and start pinning the bottom to the waistband as well. Once you have it all pinned together and your waistband's nice and tight, go ahead and sew the 3 layers together. Definitely double check and make sure that every pleat is still attached to the waistband and it doesn't fall underneath, and keep adjusting if it does. So now I'm missing footage, so I'm just going to tell you and show you what it looks like. So hold up the waistband to your body and then wrap it around you. Kind of emulate it by holding a pin there in place. Then double check how much extra skirt material you will need before cutting it. So go back to your fabric and make sure you remember where you marked you need to cut off the rest of the pleated skirt. Otherwise you might have to go back and add it back on and fix it again. This is why you had to try it on first. There have been many times where I actually make a skirt and it doesn't fit my rump and my thighs because the skirt does not have enough fabric in the bottom portion. So you need to make sure that you have enough. Once you get to that point that you're ready to cut, go ahead and cut off the extra parts that you do not need anymore. For me, I had to give at least 1 extra pleat for the full pleated look, and this way I just cut through both pieces up to the top of the waistband. And if you're doing a double layered pleated skirt, make sure to cut through both of the pieces at the same point, and you want to make sure that they're even because at the end you're going to be adding a zipper. The zipper I chose was this really long brown one, and I got these off of eBay. Enjoy the tutorial? I hope you did. I don't know if I did, but my makeup didn't. That's why it melted off. As always, if you have any questions about how to do this tutorial, leave them in a comment down below. I will be sure to answer them as soon as possible. If you make any pleated skirts using this tutorial, make sure to tag me on social media so I can see it at CelesteOrchid. And that would be really great. Make sure to check out what YouTube recommends over here, or check out what I think you should be watching over here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and stay inspired, be creative, and I will see you in a future video. Bye!